Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. I want to give a double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do rule well. I'm going to give a salutations out there to the whole elect out there pushing and striving to stand this truth. I think I'm going to start off with the word of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai first. Baruch 4:25. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from Yahweh, for thy enemy has persecuted thee, but surely thou shalt see his destruction and shalt tread upon his neck. Okay, and who's suffering? The hopeful elect. All Israelites are suffering, all the 12 tribes. But the elected is the ones that's going to get this victory this time. Okay? But all the elect should be saved, though. Verse 28. For as it was your mind to go astray from Yahweh, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. And that's what he wants from all these people. You know what I'm saying? 29. For he that have brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Yeah, man. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking forward to what's to come. We see the punishment, you know, but the hopeful elect is only ones out here acknowledging their wrongdoings and trying to get it right with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Before that time come, before his judgment come, before his wrath come. You know? 31. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. Yeah, and that's what this lesson gonna be about. The title of the lesson gonna be miserable are the cities. Okay? 32. Miserable are the cities which thy children serve. And where was one of them lands of captivity? Here in America. We still held captive. You know? Miserable is she that received thy sons. Basically, when we came over off them slave boats and they were doing the triangle slave trade, you know, this place was cursed for sure. Because this is where all the 12 tribes had to come anyway to pursue the prophecy. So, you know, miserable. I looked at the definition of it on Google, and it's wretchedly unhappy or uncomfortable. The etymology of it is, let's go to it here. Full of misery, causing wretchedness, from Old French miserable, and directly from Latin miserabilis, miserable, deplorable, lamentable, from misery to pity, lament, deplore, from miser, wretched, of persons existing in the state of want, suffering, wretchedness. It is assisted from 1520s, meaning mentally full of misery, wretched, and feeling unhappy. Yeah, man, and that's what these people got to look forward to. That's all they got to look forward to. That's all they got to look forward to. All those preparing for war tactics, bug out bags, and all that's going to be saved for the hopeful elect. Let me play this clip from you. Something about it don't seem right, smell fishy, you know.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ross Palumbo. Pat and Juan are off tonight. A mother and grandmother are quarantined on that cruise ship right now, and they say they are not getting the care they need. KCAL9's Lori Perez is live at the Port of Los Angeles with the very latest. Lori.
Well, Ross, the Grand Princess will return to port here early tomorrow morning carrying an unconfirmed number of COVID-positive guests, and that is stirring up all sorts of bad memories. As you said, tonight I spoke with one passenger. She says she and her mother are on board at sea right now. They are very sick, and she says they're getting no help at all.
We have massive headaches. We have the cough, the runny nose. Pretty miserable. I'll be very glad to get home tomorrow.
A 2-week trip to Hawaiian paradise for Vicky Herbers and her 80-year-old mother, Sharon, turned to a trip to the opposite of paradise when mom tested positive for COVID-19 last Friday and Herbers fell ill. For the last 4 days, they've been quarantined in this room, and Herbers says no one from the ship's medical staff has ever called or checked in on them, not even once. And RN herself, Herbers, is stunned.
I said, because I've been a nurse in lots of places, and this is not how you care for sick patients. Somebody has to make a point of contact to know if they're dead or alive, for God's sake.
She's pretty sure she has COVID, but says she was told she'd get retested. She's still waiting. Only after she kept calling, she says, did a paramedic bring Tylenol, cough syrup, and drops. And she says repeated attempts to talk to, let alone see a nurse or doctor, have been dead ends.
And I'm like, your whole medical team takes a break at the same time. And she's like, yes. And I said, that's crazy.
Princess Cruises would not confirm how many people are sick on board the Grand Princess, but said in a statement, guests and crew who tested positive were isolated while monitored and cared for by our shipboard medical team. Herbers says she's been told the shipboard medical team is only 7 people for a ship that carries 2,600. The cruise line does require guests to show a negative COVID-19 test and proof of full vaccination, but she says the paramedic let it slip that more than 200 people are now sick.
He did tell me this is the worst outbreak they've had since they've been back at sea.
The Grand Princess has only been back at sea for 6 months. It's the very ship that sat off the coast of California for days in the early days of COVID as the company and medical professionals figured out what to do with nearly 24 sick guests. 2 years later, Herbers says it seems they still haven't figured it out.
And I said it's crazy how we have to advocate for our loved ones because people think you can stick them in a room. Would they stick their own mother in a room without any contact?
Now, the mother and daughter from Murrieta have taken this very same cruise to Hawaii 4 times before. As you can imagine, they say it might be a while before they do it again.
Yeah, man, they stuck them somewhere. They stuck them somewhere and forgot about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's coming to these people. That's what they don't even understand. They over there doing it in where China now, ain't it? Like, they just built a little metal fence around their apartments and all that. Like, there was a couple of videos on WorldStar, you know. Like, these people don't have nothing good to look forward to. They trying to take it back to 2019 and before, but you can chalk it. That's why all the latest good movies now is the remakes of something from back in that era or like some old classic. Like, I like stuff like Game of Thrones and movies and shows like that. You know, could it go back into when the earth was ran with a little bit of more of a real king and real stand-upness. You know, people, your word was law back then, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, but here goes another video to expound more on the word miserable, you know, because especially if you're trying to stand up for this truth, man, you know, through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, we're going to get through this miserably time. We got to walk that straight gate, man, to get to that kingdom.
In France by saying he wants to piss them off and make life very difficult for them if they don't get vaccinated, including not welcoming them in bars and restaurants and public venues. Protests are being planned right now, and even many of the vaccinated are saying he went too far. His goal, of course, is to see as many French citizens are vaccinated as possible to deal with the Omicron variant right now that is all the world's rage. Even though the cases are not as serious, there are certainly more of them. them to Dr. Bob Lahita, the St. Joseph's Director for Autoimmune and Rheumatic Diseases. Doctor, good to see you. I'll spare you my Emmanuel Macron impression and French impression at that, but I did want to get your reaction to how he has vilified the unvaccinated and plans to make life difficult for them. What do you think of that?
Yes, Neil. Well, this is 3 months before his election. This is a gutsy move by Monsieur Macron, the president. And he really is... He's reflecting the anger of the French public against those who are not vaccinated. And actually, there's a lot of vaccination in France, somewhat near 70 to 80% of the population. He is doing what Monsieur de Blasio, the former mayor of New York City, did, and essentially prohibits people from squeezing them out of public events. And I don't think this is going to fly in the United States if President Biden has any idea that this may be the way he should go.
You know, the Supreme Court is taking up this issue of vaccine mandates. I don't want to go back and forth on that, but it might already be too late, right? I mean, we're at the point now where 200 million Americans have at least gotten one shot. I think 60 some odd percent, 2-3%. Are in that position. So I'm wondering if all of that might be a moot point. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that a national mandate would be a big mistake. America is based on freedom of what you want to do with your own body. I told you many times before, as well as others, that I think that certain professions should be mandated to be vaccinated, such as doctors, nurses, police, fire, EMS, and maybe school teachers for sure. But that's about where the mandates...
Let me pause it right there, because I mean, I didn't even watch it this far at first, but if you heard correctly, because I think it matched up with my next verse. I didn't even watch this far, but he said America is a place where something they believe in doing whatever they want to with their own body.
60 some odd percent, 2-3% are in that position. So I'm wondering if all of that might be a moot point. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that a national mandate would be a big mistake. America is based on freedom of what you want to do with your own body.
Wow. There you go. There you go. You heard it out the own dragon's mouth, his damn self. His damn self. And it's quick because it lined up right with my next verse. Second Esdras, chapter 8, verse 50, man. For many great miseries, okay? That's a key word here today. For many great miseries should be done to them that in the latter time should dwell, okay, in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And you already know when it comes to that pride, man, America, man, that great eagle, man, is flying high, okay, who look as stouter than our neighbors, man. You know, that's them all the way, man. So great miseries is coming to this place. You can't deny it, you can't hide, you can't run from it. Where can I run? and hide your sins from him.
I told you many times before, as well as others, that I think that certain professions should be mandated to be vaccinated, such as doctors, nurses, police, fire, EMS, and maybe school teachers for sure. But that's about where the mandates should stop. If you start doing that to the general public, as I see with my patients, they get extremely angry and very, very agitated when you tell them that they must get the booster, they must get vaccinated, and so on, although it is a good public health measure.
You know, already we've had 4 million cases, largely Omicron, in the past week, Doctor, versus 4 million cases in the first 6 months of the pandemic. What do you make of that?
We're going to have overwhelming infection. It's not a question of whether, but a question of when. I suspect everyone in the country will eventually be infected. The good news is, Neil, that this may provide us with the immunity, the herd immunity that we've been waiting for, simply because you either get infected or you get vaccinated. If your immune system then responds to this coronavirus, the only thing that would knock us out of the box would be a new variant. And as you know, the new variants occur in those who are unvaccinated. And so that's troublesome. And it's around the world, not just here in the United States.
What do you make of this other variant, the IHU? I hope I'm referring to it correctly, Doctor.
Yes.
It's been raising some concerns. Should we worry about it?
Well, until the data come in, we shouldn't worry about it. That's been described by a French genomics institute, which the IHU is all about, and it's from a guy that came in from Cameroon. And as you know, in various parts of Africa, the rate of vaccination is exceedingly low, sometimes less than 10% of the population. So that's where these variants are popping up, and they're popping up because some of these people who are immunosuppressed hang on to the virus for months, and that's when variation and mutation can occur. So I wouldn't lose sleep over the IHU. I've been talking about the Lambda, the Mu, and the Omicron for many, many months, and only the Omicron has spread like wildfire through the world and will provide us with significant immunity and not bad clinical symptoms.
You know, when we were last chatting, Doctor, you were talking about this virus being with us forever. The president says he doesn't think COVID is here to stay. Are you right? Is he right?
I think he's wrong. I think COVID is here to stay, just like influenza is here to stay. And I predict that when the pandemic goes away, we're going to have an endemic virus. And perhaps people will be creative and create a vaccine that will include both the flu and the coronavirus every year, or maybe every other year, depending on how the scientists really feel about its endemic nature and how bad it proceeds, probably like the flu every season.
Dr. Bob Lahita, you've been such a...
There you have it, man. The folks do a whole lot of talk around and come up with different scenarios that's not even present to try to get you to take something that they concoction in one of their lives, man. Like Elder Malcolm would say, man, beware of a straight-faced guy with a bow tie, with a tie on. Also with a white lab coat. Like, them folks out of pocket anyway. Let's go ahead and end this off. Second address, Agent 60. But they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them, and were unthankful unto him which prepared life for them. Yeah, man. And that's really got to do more with Jake than it got to do with everybody. But he did create all the nations. And they just go against, they unthankful for life. That's why I say, if he didn't shorten the times, there would be no flesh left to be saved, man. You know, these folks are mad scientists out here, man. And second Ezra 8 and 61, next verse, it say, and therefore is my judgment now at hand, man. And that's what we seeing playing out right now, man. How about Shimmy Al-Shah, man, about to make a big grand entrance, man. Put everything back in this rightful space, give it back to its rightful owners. You know what I'm saying? But my last verse, before I get up out here, second Ezra 9:12, the same is nor death by pain. And that's what's coming, man. Miserable times and then death, man. But I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. I want to give a double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom.